We pray to you, Almighty Goddess, who always answers at the crux. We slave for you, Almighty Goddess, who gives us goodness when life sucks. We worship you, Almighty Goddess, who provides us with caffeine deluxe. We offer you ourselves our cash, Almighty Coffee Goddess, Starbucks.
Can you go and get me a coffee?
No, you can go get your own coffee, Angela's.
Well, Alan Knighty, give me some good reasons I can't argue with, and I'll think about it.
Well, why should I get you a coffee when you can obviously go and get it for yourself? And it's not my duty to adhere to your every little whim whenever you feel like it. You're just being lazy.
And those are your reasons?
Yes.
Well, Alan Knighty, we live in a democracy, don't we?
Yeah, but what has that anything to do with me getting you a coffee? That's exactly why I'm not getting you a coffee. In a democracy, an individual is free to pursue their own interests, and my interests don't include getting you a coffee.
Now, Alan Knighty, don't let your emotions overwhelm you. I'll address all your points, and at the end of this dialogue, you'll simply have to go and get me a cup of coffee.
If you manage to do that, I'll even get you a donut.
It stuns us that you bothered to get out of your bed. You're lazy and you want to sit and make us work instead. You could get up in 2 minutes, instead you'll argue 10. But it won't work, it's not our job to jump when you say when.
Look, the customer is always right. But Alan Knighty, getting back to our discussion, well, so we do live in a democracy, right?
Yeah, we live in Canada.
Yeah, and that means the citizens elect the leaders.
Yes.
And these leaders make up the rules and regulations that form the country, don't they?
Well, yeah, otherwise where's my tax money going?
Now, which group do the citizens belong to?
I don't know.
Do you need a hint?
Sure.
Okay, it starts with M, and it rhymes with passes.
Masses.
Exactly, you're on a roll today, Alan Knighty. And now, these masses, what are they made up of?
I think it starts with an I, and it rhymes with residuals.
Individuals.
Yes.
Individuals, exactly. The individuals make up the mass. And so that means, effectively, the individuals rule the democracy, right?
Yeah, they do.
And do you believe that a democracy is the best system of governance?
Of course it's the best system, just because of what you said. Every individual has a voice in the government.
And do you believe that you have a duty to yourself to always uphold your own beliefs, despite the circumstances?
Of course, that's why I'm an autonomous moral character.
So you have a duty to support democracy, because that's what you believe in, right?
Yeah, I believe in democracy.
And in order to do so, you should facilitate democracy.
Facilitate as in...
Aid, assist, make easier.
Not how I facilitate... my grandmother?
Well, if you make her life easier, then yeah, you would be.
Okay, yeah.
Right, so you have to facilitate democracy. Now, you agree that the democracy is made up of the mass.
Which are in turn made up of individuals.
Exactly, so you must sort of aid and assist each individual first in order to uphold your own belief, eventually.
I guess, yes, that's true.
And now, do you want an example to illustrate that?
I'm sure you'll give me one.
Okay, so for example, we have a huge pie. If I had a huge pie, because
Yes.
I like pies. If that pie is cut up into tiny individual pieces, in order to eat the whole pie, I have to eat all of the little pieces first, right?
When you eat a big round pie, do you shove it in your face? Or do you eat it piece by piece and finish at a steady pace?
Well, I have done the shoving thing before. It has worked as well. Yes, you would eat it piece by piece.
And that just goes to show that you should affect each of the individuals first in order to eventually affect the mass.
Yes, that's true. And in turn, you're facilitating your democracy.
Exactly. Wow, you're really quick today, Alan Knighty. And then just to restate this, we did agree, obviously, that we live in Canada, right?
Yes, we live in Canada.
Am I a citizen of Canada?
That's what it says on your passport.
Well then, if I'm a citizen of Canada, then I'm an individual of a democratic society, right?
Yes.
And in getting me a coffee, you would be aiding and assisting an individual of a democratic society.
Yes.
And that will ultimately lead you to uphold your own beliefs in a democracy.
Yes, it would.
And it will fulfill your personal duty to yourself. To
Yeah.
uphold your own beliefs, right?
Yes, it will.
Should we get the coffee now? We are not sure, we are confused. Is it just lazy? Or were we wrong to have refused?
Now, if I remember clearly, you said that I was lazy.
Yes, you are being lazy. You're not doing anything except your French revision. You could perfectly go and get yourself a coffee and nothing would happen.
Now sit down and stop talking French. I can't. So being lazy, well, let's define being lazy. That means not doing your duty when you obviously can, right?
Yeah, which is exactly what you're doing. You're just sitting there when you can go and get yourself a coffee.
Now remember that we agreed that it was your duty to aid and assist every individual of a democratic society.
Yeah?
And you're not doing that now, are you?
Not really.
You're not helping me, you're not getting a coffee for me, are you?
No.
And do you have the means to get me a coffee?
I guess I could get you a coffee.
You can walk
And talk.
and read.
And get into Brock.
Exactly. And all of those reasons clearly state that you can go and get me a coffee, right? But you're not doing that now,
No, I'm not.
which means you're not fulfilling your duty.
Yeah?
And within our definition of laziness, aren't you being lazy?
Am I being lazy?
Yes, you are, Alan Lighty.
Yes.
Now, isn't laziness usually a bad thing? Doesn't society frown upon laziness?
Laziness is definitely a very bad thing.
And you know it to be a bad thing.
I know it.
Very, very bad.
It's very dirty, but yes.
Do you believe that everyone should always do the right thing and avoid doing what's wrong?
Of course.
Well, the right thing, of course, meaning what you believe in.
Yeah. That's what all our actions are based on, right? What we believe is right.
Yeah, and now let's have another example.
Okay.
So suppose a toddler is being bullied by a bunch of your peers who are tossing stones at that poor little toddler.
What kind of peers do I have?
Is what they're doing wrong?
Of course it's wrong. You can't just bully people whenever you feel like it.
Should you join in?
No.
We do not injure others.
Who causes no alarm.
The boys are acting in the wrong.
We keep the boy from harm.
So it would be wrong to join in even though all your peers are doing it.
Of course.
Right, so even though I'm being lazy right now by not getting myself a coffee, aren't you being lazy?
Yes, I am.
And you know that's wrong.
That's very bad.
And so aren't you contradicting your beliefs a little bit? Just a tiny little bit?
Am I contradicting my beliefs?
Yeah, you are.
Out of my line, yes.
And so by getting me a coffee, first of all, you'll be ultimately fulfilling your duty to yourself to uphold the democracy in which you believe. Right?
That's true.
And you will also be persistent to your own beliefs by doing what you think is right, even though I and other people are doing what's wrong, which is being lazy.
Yeah.
Right? And therefore, you should.
We see the light. We know what's right. We must give in without a fight.
Get the coffee. What kind of donut do you want?
Boston cream.
Good choice.